to the weekly recap. I'm Matt Wacker. This week, we continue our look at a trio of museums in the John B. Mahaffey complex on Fort Leonard Wood. In part two of a three-part series, Leanne tours the U.S. Army Chemical Corps Museum with director Kip Lindberg, discovering gas masks, trenches, and the fact that chemical protection isn't just for humans.
One of the last animal protective devices we have in our collection is an American pigeon protector from 1953. So you're talking the atomic age, and they're still making a standard that if communications go down, you can still communicate using pigeons and messages.
That's incredible.
I think so. And so we have other countries here, animal protective equipment. We've got dog boots to protect dogs' feet from vesicant gases like mustard gas, eyeglasses for horses. And we even have a gas mask for a camel in our collection, because at one point countries were planning on using camels as battlefield weapons, so they had to be able to protect them. So this is a temporary exhibit. We have about 7,000 objects in our collection, no way to display them all at the same time.
Tell me about the most interesting thing that's not on display and why.
Well, probably the most interesting thing that visitors would like to see but can't because it's so fragile is the original handmade prototype of our Mickey Mouse gas masks that was developed for children for the preparation that America might be the scene of a chemical war in World War II. They thought if they made it out of a cartoon character, the kids would think it was a game and would want to wear it for the length of time required to protect them from poison gases. So the Walt Disney Studio came up with the idea of producing a mask that looked like Mickey Mouse, make it a game for kids. And it all sounds rather funny today, but at the time it was very, very serious. Every one of our chemical soldiers that comes to Fort Leonard Wood for training gets a block of history instruction in this room, so they can feel empathy with those who have served before them. They can see what sacrifices they have made, what decisions they had to make, and build strength from that, knowing that predecessors met difficulty and overcame it in the past. You can do that today with proper training. Because this will be running. In 1941, we were expecting that the United States would be attacked by Axis forces using poison gas because it was a tremendous force multiplier, pretty easy to manufacture, but yet has just great consequences on the battlefield. So our predecessor organization set up civil defense schools all across the country to teach fire departments and policemen what to do on the scene of a poison gas attack. And we also started producing gas masks for American civilians so that American civilians could have these in their home in the event of a poison gas attack.
Nothing ever
occurred, no. By 1943, the threat against the United States had dissipated so much they did not expect a gas attack here, so they stopped producing those masks for civilians. We've created a section of trench about 30 feet long so our visitors have an understanding of what trench warfare was like in World War I. So we've recreated it again as an immersion exhibit so our visitors can feel they're at the scene at the time. The audio you hear is actual recordings from 1917 of a British battery firing poison gas shells into the German lines. So you're hearing a sound that is 100 years old to help you connect with history.
Unbelievable.
We no longer have an offensive chemical role in our Army today because of international treaties. We've prohibited stockpiling and use of chemical agents. So what you see in here as far as rockets, missiles, flamethrowers, incendiary devices, that's truly museum pieces. Those are the weapons of the past. The defensive mission of protection, decontamination, medical treatment will always be there as long as we have the threat.
April 13th marked the end of Keith Stroessner's tenure on the Rolla Public Schools Board of Education. Stroessner served on the board for 15 years and was fundamental in the growth of the school district. He did not seek re-election on April 4th. Superintendent Dr. Aaron Zallis chaired the April 13th meeting until Greg Stroutman was officially voted in as the new president. 81 Rolla High School students were honored as Show Me Scholars at the April 12th Chamber Luncheon. The Show Me Scholars initiative is part of a national program designed to motivate students to build their personal study plans around a more rigorous set of high school courses. 14 students walked away with monetary scholarships, courtesy of local businesses. Senator Claire McCaskill visited Rolla on April 14th, holding the 8th of 8 town hall meetings during a tour across the state. Locals gathered at the Havener Center to ask the senator questions and to hear her remarks on global and local issues, from the recent bombing in Syria to the rise in heroin and opioid use. Senator Roy Blunt made a stop in Rolla on April 11th for a tour of MoSci, the Day family's high-tech specialty glass production and testing facility. Senator Blunt was pleased to see such a successful example of collaboration between research and product commercialization. When you see this chemical equation adorning a storefront in downtown Rolla, you might not realize you're looking at the area's newest fine dining restaurant. We visited Saltwater and talked to owner Sue Banholzer to give you a look at what you might expect to find at this seafood eatery.
This is a beautiful place. Sue, what is the inspiration behind Saltwater?
Well, number one, we couldn't find any good seafood in the area, and my husband's been doing all these recipes in the kitchen for years. So everything is my husband's recipes, made from scratch tartar sauce, salad dressings. Our cocktails are made from scratch. So, I mean, we got tired of driving to St. Louis to get good seafood and, good cocktails. And all my wines are by the glass. And I have very nice wines. And you can't get it's hard to get nice glasses of wine by the glass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I understand that. Normally you have to buy a whole bottle.
Yes, exactly.
Matt, this is Steve and Monica Davis. What do you guys think about Saltwater?
Well, as you can see, there is no more food. We absolutely enjoyed it. Fresh, wonderful. Salmon I just had, and the potatoes were wonderful. This is outstanding. You got to come here and try it.
Monica?
I like the freshness, and I absolutely like a place with a little bit of class. So, absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about this beautiful bar.
Well, the teakwood we got from Maryland, and it's actually what they use for the decking of yachts on the East Coast. And so we wanted the whole yachting ocean theme, so we wanted to make our bar make you feel like you're on a yacht while you're having cocktails.
Tell us a little bit about your menu. What maybe are your favorite things or some variety that people might expect to see here at Saltwater?
Everything on the menu is fresh. Like tonight we have fresh salmon, fresh halibut, fresh cod. My husband's favorite is the fish and chips. It's beer battered. We use our beer from the bar, and we hand bread everything. The most popular thing at lunch is the shrimp poor boy and a seared tuna club. And dinner, this is our first night open for dinner, so I don't know what the most popular is, but I would say the Parmesan encrusted halibut would be my favorite. We have fabulous desserts, all made from scratch. We have a New York style cheesecake. We have a brownie sundae. The brownie's made from scratch. The cheesecake's made from scratch. And then we have a banana bourbon sauce it's Jim Beam bourbon that we put over ice cream, and it's to die for.
Like an adult sundae.
It is an adult sundae, yes.
The Sullivan Independent News is reporting that the Sullivan campus of East Central College will close effective June 30th. The ECC Board of Trustees voted April 10th to close the campus due to declining enrollment. It is estimated that the closure will save $57,000 annually for the institution. Owensville EMS remembered one of their own on April 15th. Matthew Piles, Gomer, as he was known by the locals, died in an automobile accident on April 1st near his home in Rosebud. Piles served in the Air Force, attaining the rank of senior airman. Burial took place on April 17th at Jefferson Barracks in St. Louis with full military honors. The National Antique Tractor Pull Association held their national championship in Lebanon's Cowan Civic Center on April 7th and 8th. Here's spokesperson Carl Buckner to tell us more about it.
It's a National Antique Tractor Pull. Today we're having the national championship. Garden tractors, mini rods, and two-wheel drive trucks. Yesterday we had 361 notes. New York, South Dakota, Illinois, Iowa, Michigan, Kansas, all over, because this is a national event. Each division has 4 different weight classes, so it ends up being a marathon.
Following complaints about signs creating obstruction issues, the City of West Plains and the Missouri Department of Transportation will no longer allow them at the intersection of Preacher Row Boulevard and Highway 63. City Clerk Mallory Pruitt says there are other places in town to place signage, so you'll have to promote your yard sale someplace else. The West Plains Police Department is asking for the public's assistance in a shoplifting investigation. They are seeking to identify the woman in this picture. She left the Walmart in West Plains in this dark-colored vehicle. If you have any information, please contact the West Plains Police Department. In an earlier episode, we brought you announcement video of the Greater Ozarks Center for Advanced Technology, or GOCAT. Today, the center held its open house. GOCAT is a joint project between the City of West Plains, MSU, and the West Plains School District. It will not only provide traditional education opportunities, but key technology skills that are in demand by manufacturers. You may not think of art when you think of recycling. Arts Rolla's Shades of Green exhibit showcases the work of artists who use environmental, repurposed, or recycled materials in their pieces. Mediums include used clothing, leftover glass, and even packing peanuts. In association with Arts Rolla, the Merrimack Regional Planning Commission and Ozark River's Solid Waste Management District held their first ever student art contest and lyric writing competition. Over 350 students from 13 area schools submitted entries. The winning art is on display at the center in Rolla, along with the Shades of Green exhibit. Sloan Davis and Catlin Mathis were the winners of the lyrics competition and sang their words to a familiar tune.
Take me out to recycle, take me out to the bin, bring me some paper and bottle caps, you will surely get them back. Sort, sort, sort through your trash can. If you don't, it's a shame. For it's reuse, reduce, and recycle at the old recycle bin.
Missouri S&T's annual Earth Day celebration is set to take place on April 20th. All events are free and open to the public. During the celebration, visitors can stop by educational booths and register to tour the university's solar-powered houses. Meanwhile, the U.S. Army recognized Fort Leonard Wood with a first-place award for their Earth Day event held last year. We were there, if you recall. This year's event is scheduled for May 5th. Plans are underway. We're debuting a new segment on The Recap, so let's take a look back at the week that was in local 6 sports. Well, in case you missed it, half a dozen cattle had a beef with a St. Louis slaughterhouse last month, opting to make a break for it and cause chaos in the city streets. Police eventually rounded them up after an hours-long chase. The ruckus prompted a vegetarian man from suburban St. Louis to launch an online fundraiser to buy the animals' freedom. That's all for now. Let me tell you, it feels good to be back from a galaxy far, far away. Actually, I was in Orlando for 4 nonstop days of all things Star Wars. I was surrounded by Wookiees and droids and Jedi. Oh my. I even made friends with an R2 unit that really didn't have the time to talk. The Weekly Recap is brought to you by Price Chopper, Cooking from Scratch, the Travers Automotive Group, the UPS Store of Rolla, Beck Motors of Owensville, Bayer Dodge of West Plains, Hanging by a Thread, Mimi's Home Helpers, and Tailor Your Insurance.